If this bill passes, the United States will have spent more than $5.5 trillion on total relief. That is larger than the GDP of every country besides the U.S. and China. When you look back, how do you think Congress has done with the relief efforts?
Stephanie, first of all, great to be here with you. I wish I was sitting next to you like I was a year ago today. Look, I said it a year ago, and I meant it when I said it. This is a once in a lifetime, once in a century. Hopefully it's not more than that experience. And this is what federal governments have to do. In times of crisis, in times of pandemics, the federal government has to step in and has to help our citizens through these periods of time. I guess it was clear a year ago to me that we weren't going to get through this without massive layoffs, without companies shutting down, without people staying home. And when companies cease to have revenue, they almost cease to exist. Yes, the larger companies can continue to thrive, but the small companies disappear very quickly. And that is the backbone of the American economy, are small companies. So we did need the U.S. government to step in and throw money at the situation. I remember coming on show after show, begging the federal government to throw money at the situation. And look, they did the best they could. We had to respond to a crisis. We had to respond to a pandemic. We did not know what was going on. We did not know how long it would take. We did not know when it would end. We did not know how severe it would be. Look, in many respects, people are probably surprised it's going on a year later. And in many respects, I guess we should be fortunate that a year later, we're talking about the recovery side of this pandemic. So I would give the federal government pretty good marks on this, having thrown money at it, giving money to consumers, giving money to small businesses, trying to keep the economy as normal as possible.
Well, 1 year ago, I asked you about the idea of sending checks to the American people. You said it was too extreme, too far. This bill is going to mark the third stimulus check. What do you think about that now?
Well, Steph, look, I may have been wrong a year ago. You know, with the length and duration of this pandemic, we may have needed to send money to certain people. And I'm, I don't want to be too harsh. You know, this is a year long. People have lost their jobs. The enhanced unemployment benefits are very important. Look, what I don't want to do now is I don't want to send the wrong message as the economy's getting ready to turn and the economy's getting ready to explode. We saw it in last month's jobs numbers, and I think there's fairly universal agreement among almost all economists, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, that the U.S. economy is poised to explode. And we want people to re-enter the workforce. The number one thing we've got to talk about is how to re-normalize going back to work. Now, that's not so easy. To re-normalize going back to work, we've got to do all the processes that we undid. We've got to get kids back to school. We've got to get the service industry back so people can feel like they're living their normal life and it's comfortable enough for them to leave their house and go back and enter the workforce. If we don't get people back in the workforce, we're going to be dealing with another consequence of this pandemic, which is massive inflation. It's going to be driven by wage price inflation if we can't get people back in the workforce. And that would be a bad outcome of what the government's doing.
What do you think about today's bill?
Look, Stephanie, there's parts of it that are really essential, and I'm highly supportive of. Obviously, we all want to increase vaccinations. We want everyone vaccinated. We want it done today. This is America. We want it done today. So speeding up vaccinations is important. Testing is important. Getting money for schools is important. And many of the other little pieces in there are important. Like, look, there's $25 million in there, billion dollars in there to get restaurants reopened. That's really important. Small businesses in America are going to need working capital to reestablish themselves or start new again. But unfortunately, it's not just $25 billion for restaurants. It's every service industry that we have in America is going to need some form of working capital. We're going to have to encourage new entrepreneurs to open up businesses and take the place of those businesses that unfortunately got wiped out in a year of no revenue. They just couldn't survive. So there's some pieces in this bill that are clearly in the right direction. We're going to have to do more to allow businesses to reopen and thrive and create new businesses.
Then what don't you like in it?
Look, there's a lot of money going into this bill that is not really driven towards encouraging the economy to normalize and encouraging the economy to grow and encouraging the economy to expand. We should be all about getting people back to work, normalizing economic expansion, normalizing growth, normalizing job creation, not encouraging people to stay out of the workforce. We want to get people back in the workforce.
Then do you think one of the reasons this is so popular with American people on both sides of the aisle is that we've all become addicted to short-termism in every aspect of our life, and getting that immediate money is important, but the bill doesn't create long-term solutions. We had bad schools before the pandemic started. Just reopening doesn't make them good.
Stephanie, I agree with you. Look, there's a short-termism phenomena here. As you pointed out in some of your earlier segments today, most of the money being spent in this bill has a very short, finite period on it. It's either this year and next year, whether it's housing subsidies or it's healthcare subsidies or SNAP food stamp subsidies or money to schools. It's money that's going to get spent in a very short period of time. This is going to turbocharge, hopefully, what happens short term, but we need the long-term solution. The long-term solution, as I said, is to get the economy open, get the economy normalized, and get hiring growing again so people can go back and live their normalized life. Then we've got to discuss these big policy discussions that you're pointing out. We've got to discuss the quality of the healthcare in this country. We've got to discuss the quality of the education that we're getting in this country. We've got to discuss those issues, but you can't do them all at the same time. I think we're trying to do too many things at once.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank all of you out there.
Thank you as always.
Thanks to at home.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for letting us into your homes during these extraordinary times.